Do we have a cold opener for this one?
Do I have a cold? You know what? Speaking of cold openings, it's been very cold out here to the point where we got hail and tornadoes.
We got tornadoes?
In California. That's rare. It's been like 20 years since we had that.
Where?
Like Palmdale areas and stuff. So like
Ew,
not near us.
That's crazy. Palmdale's like 40 minutes, dude. That's still wild. It's too close for my comfort, you know? Tornadoes scare me. Earthquakes don't, you know?
We're used to that.
Until, you know, because if I'm in an earthquake, my house is going to follow me and I'm going to die. It's really simple, you know? And in a tornado, they're going to come after me. I'm going to be running from them. And it's going to pick me up and throw me around. I'm going to be alive for a little while. It's going to freak me out, you know?
Like the lead character in Twisters. There you go.
There's a lot to dissect with what just happened. but I don't think that's why we're here.
Yeah, you are correct. That is not why we're here. We're here to talk about the Las Vegas Open, Kill Team at the Las Vegas Open, and why it's happening 2 times in 1 year. And today our guest is Jake Jacobson from FLG. Jake, do you want to introduce yourself and your role?
I saw like a Discord thing. I wanted to hit it, but I opted not to.
That's fair. That's fair.
Kidding. Not kidding. But yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. But 100% understand that it is literally 2 LVOs in 1 year. But if you think about it another way, we just kind of made it like 3 months earlier.
That is true. That is true. That is the good way to spin it.
Yeah. I mean, it is true though.
Yeah,
more reasons to go to Vegas, you know?
Yeah. And one of the main questions that we've been getting is 2 things. What's happening to the SoCal Open? And is the LVO going back to January, or is it permanently staying in October?
Great questions. So really within like the last 90 days, we had a whole lot happening within our FLG events calendar timeline between SoCal, or the venue, the Del Mar Fairgrounds, not being able to provide the same dates. And then January became iffy within our previous venue. And then another happening within February, we're like, what is going on? So it's been on the table for a while now, that because it's no secret, like the LVO has surpassed the physical needs of the Rio for quite some time now. This is not new information to anybody. But so in a very very fast timeline, one thing led to another, and then like this entire calendar just started presenting itself. So then when we were asked by our new venue, like, what about the first week of October? We're like, wait, we never really thought about moving the dates, period. Another option would have been like literally the day after New Year's, I think, or 2 days after New Year's. We didn't think that was even like worth the consideration, to be fair. But then the question was proposed, hey, October. Well, can we do that because we have SoCal in October? Wait, now SoCal is not able to potentially happen within the same time frame. Then the alternative became February. So like all this shuffling happened, which is what started this conversation back in November. So the more and more we thought about it, we're like, wait, we actually end up dodging a whole lot of things within October. And for anybody that like keeps up with like just global conventions and whatnot, Las Vegas is the home to literally the biggest conventions around the world. CES, SHOT Show, AVN, like I could keep going on, but that is like,
in fact,
there's no way.
In fact, we used to pay a premium for the Las Vegas Open for rooms because AVN happened the exact same weekend all the time. So now that it's changed, maybe the rooms are going to be cheaper, right? We don't have to compete with the adult video networks anymore, right?
Yeah.
Unless they change too, then I mean,
maybe they'll move to October. I wish I had control over that, but I don't. But to make a long story short, there is like so I think the point that I've been driving is like this decision was not made lightly. But ultimately what that meant for SoCal is like, no, we can't run it for this year. Hopefully we can find a better date that's more suitable within our timeline for 2026. But for the time being, unfortunately, no SoCal, guys.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, it makes sense, right? Also, when we found out about that, we also it affected our calendar quite greatly as our events. Typically, we have the All Valley Team Tournament, which is our largest event, like the Squad Games' largest event, happening in September. And a lot of people usually travel to that. And this year we had to move it to June, right? So if we look here, this is our new schedule, right? We have March 15th, which is we sold out on Sunday. We sold 10 tickets, right? So we sold out at max at 36. Pacific Skirmish, we already have 12 sold. The All Valley Team Tournament is huge, the 21st and 22nd. Midsummer Mayhem. I think All Valley has 3 golden tickets. Midsummer has 2. And then the Las Vegas Open, which we are hosting for Frontline Gaming. At October 2nd through the 5th. Quite exciting. This is our fourth time, third year hosting the Las Vegas Open for the Frontline Gaming. And I think every year and every time we have broken the record. So there's a lot of pressure on me and on G to try and get back to that point and break the record for a second time. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm sure in 2026 we'll break our previous record. I'm sure. Last year we sold 174 tickets between both events, and we had 158 players show up. And in fact, we almost didn't have enough room, which was crazy. A question for you, Jake, is how has the growth of Kill? Because how long have you been at Frontline Gaming now?
Behind the scenes for about 4 years now as well.
Okay.
In my official, more formal capacity, about 1.5 years.
Okay.
Gotcha. So I think in 2020 we had about 54 players. 2021 there was a break because of COVID. 2022 there was 40 players exactly. And we took over, we had 87 players our first year, 2022. 2023, we had 133. And then this year we had 158. So we are growing still quite a lot. I think Kill Team, the game, it being good, has been doing that as well. How has it been for you and Frontline Gaming, seeing the success of Kill Team, and what has that been like for Frontline Gaming? Because we don't have tons of interactions until we actually get to the venues.
Right. No, it's true. No, it's been phenomenal growth within the Kill Team scene, and I'm so happy to hear that. So my foray into Kill Team myself was basically like upon the initial launch, and I think it's come a tremendous way from when it first was introduced. And I think this is the success of Kill Team and attendance at events, which I'm sure you will know. It comes down to what is the game doing? Where is the game? How is everybody receiving it? How's Games Workshop, putting steam behind it and like really like supporting it? And I think they've done a phenomenal job in making Kill Team what it is now. Like I just like everybody else, I'm sure they had their fair share of complaints about like how it was a little bit too close in the beginning to 40K. But now it's just morphed into its own thing. And you have people that exclusively play Kill Team. That's very, very separate to like how it was introduced,
Mm-hmm.
And I think with a combination of that, and certainly within the tournament organizers such as yourself that are really engaging with and growing the community and like putting absolute like love and energy behind each and every event. The community has been fantastic, man. Like the Kill Team guys, like at every single FLG event as of recent, is just having a ton of fun. We did it for the first time at Cherokee, first time ever. So yeah, George Pratt ran Kill Team for us for the first time, and we were unsure, right? It's like that's a long ways to travel because Cherokee, as beautiful of a venue as it is, it's quite far. So it was my first time this year too, actually visiting that venue. I was like, on paper, it made no sense. But as soon as I got there, I'm like, yeah, this is magical. And so, a game like Kill Team where, they're used to like, oh, you can just pop in and like come in and or whatever. It's a pretty big investment. And we had a great turnout. What was it, over 24? Over 24 for the first year. And like we were introduced it relatively late because we weren't even sure about scheduling and like how that would all happen. So no, it's been great, man. Like the I would say steadily at each of our events, Kill Team has just been ramping up, and rightfully so.
Awesome. And then your next event is Bay Area Open, but the next event that has Kill Team in it is Atlantic City Open, right? With Travis?
Yes, yeah, and that's also another shakeup because we couldn't. Story for another day, but we couldn't run our Champions Cup teams event in September again. So that was also part of like this whole October January shuffle, and we're like sitting here figuring out like what venue can accommodate like a global teams event, like not just 40K at this point, because that's
Mhm.
been a big focus. Now it's like, yeah, 40K is kind of what we're known for. We run the largest 40K tournaments in the world, but we're still running all of these events and like all these game systems. Like literally everybody is of equal importance when it comes to how do we make things better. So the move to, which we'd already prior decided, is like Champions Cup. That was a great concept. Like we knocked it out of the park. It was like 58 teams of 8. That's a lot of people. We're like, why not open this up to every game system? Like,
Yeah.
doesn't want to wave their team flag. Like it was like a no brainer.
So is Kill Team going to be a team event as well?
Yes. So Travis,
Wow.
within the New York area, so he is officially on board and very excited. And Travis runs the NYO, right? The NYO
And
and
yep,
a
New
bunch
York
of other
Open.
events. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's fully on board for this now. Doing a 3v3 format, just a 2-day event, so Saturday and Sunday. I really appreciate his schedule. He wants to do 5 rounds total. 3 rounds the first day, 2 rounds the next day. It's like, dude, cool. Let's go enjoy Atlantic City at that point. Like we're already out here.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good. Travis has been to a couple of our All Valley team tournaments. I'm excited to see what Travis's vision of team events is, and if he expands or innovates on any of that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited to see the Atlantic City pop off. And if you guys are on the East Coast, perhaps consider going to that team event, because in my opinion, Kill Team doesn't have enough team events, right? We have the WTC in Europe. We have now the ACO, and we have, I think Nova has a Friday team event, and then there's the All Valley team tournament. And last year we had 66 players at the All Valley, right? And this year we hope to break 80. So I think that team events are absolutely awesome, and they're a great place to start. They're not terribly competitive. And, if you're like, a team event is awesome because you win with your buddies, you lose with your buddies, and then you get to go have drinks and eat afterwards, right? That's the best part about it.
Dude, team events hit differently. Like, let's be real, right?
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
never as bad when you take a loss.
That's the only time. That's the only way I play 40K these days.
Absolutely.
Is at team events.
And I'm hearing that so much too. It's like even within like my own competitive team, or just even like friends of friends. I'm hearing that so often now, where it's like I'm only budgeting for teams events throughout the year, and it's like I get it. I totally get it.
Me and Giacomo, we actually started squad games because of an FLG event. We used to go to the LTT in Las Vegas, which was a Warhammer event. The first time we went, it was kind of, we just went and had fun. The second time we went, we started squad games. On the way back, we talked about making a podcast, and that was 3 or 4 years ago, 4 years ago now.
Yep.
Something like that. And I have a bone to pick with you. You weren't there, but I'm going to bring it up. I brought it up before. We got 3rd place Renaissance, okay? And FLG gave us a single crystal cup for 5 players. And I was like, what do I do? Do I throw this on the ground? Do I break it and take a piece home? I was so upset. But my friend drinks out of it. We didn't break it. So
you just pass the cup around.
It still lives in his house.
Yes.
And I am sorry about that. I might have been there actually. I might have been there. The last LVTT I played in was in 2022.
Okay.
at the Palace Station. So we might have crossed paths. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Actually, 2021, I was a judge.
Oh, yeah?
Adam still was asked me to judge, but we were
Okay.
in the mask era.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. The
Yeah.
mask era,
Yep.
yeah.
That's
That's
the one
the
we
era.
went to. I think.
No shit.
I don't
I
know
was
if we went to
there then.
2022.
I
Okay.
was there
All
then.
right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But what I'm apologizing for is, and part of like what we're like paying a whole lot of attention to is, just because we did things a certain way within our event circuit for years prior, and mind you, FLG ran our first event 15 years ago. This year, it's been a minute, and times have changed. Things have changed. The landscape has changed. Lord knows that like our events and tournaments are much larger than they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even 3 years ago. So the landscape has changed. So everything from prize support, how we support our TOs, and just overall like putting the attendee experience first has been an utmost focus, starting with the LVO. The LVO, and then subsequently Cherokee, and Rocky Mountain. So Denver's next week. So like every event moving forward, like I'm proud to say that we course corrected very, very quickly. But this is all like a standard now. Like literally, everybody gets an award.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's one thing that we do as well. We always give out, I think at LVO, we gave out like 36 awards last year, right? And plus we gave out faction awards, which was over 40. So I think we gave out like 70 awards, but that's besides the point. Was a bit too much? Absolutely. But I do it because I know how things are. Now, Jake, something that's really exciting the reason why I brought this up is because you gave us plaques at LVO, and then you're expanding upon that, and you have these resin trophies. Is there any way that you can talk a little bit about those? And
absolutely,
are those going to be available for every game system at LVO this year?
Every game system.
Wow.
So it was an ambitious project, right? Because and it's something even before my time. Like if Frankie and Reese, I always like thought it'd be really, really cool to have custom trophies that are sculpted. So it's an undertaking. Like the fact that we haven't done it now means until now means it was a very, very difficult task. So our illustrator, which is Go Boy, that creates and collaborates on making custom artwork. I think I have apologized because I was very stringent upon the requests for this season's artwork, because I knew that like, hey, I really want to take a crack at this, but a 3D artist is going to need something very like strong to base their 3D sculpts out of. So they need strong 2D art in order to support 3D art, and it has to look cool. Like just 2D art translating to 3D doesn't always transfer very well if it's not from like a strong foundation. So it was actually Tyson and Danny. Tyson runs a bunch of events for us too, so they have a studio, and I was like, guys, I really want to do this. Here, take creative control, but just the basics of it just needs to feel like the 2D art, right? And so we did it in time. Like literally we were scrambling right after LVO, because Cherokee is like 3 weeks after LVO. No big deal. Super easy event to run, right?
Yeah.
But we did it. Like we did it. The artwork was great. Oh my god, it was so great. We had a Space Wolf cosplayer just like show up. He had messaged me in advance, but like I completely forgot. He's like, hey, is it cool if I just commissioned this like amazing costume? Dude, he went all out. So the pictures on our Cherokee page. But it just so happened to be he had the same haircut as our trophy artwork, so it was just perfect, dude. I couldn't have planned it better. But yeah, these sculpts is going to be customized and available at every single event for every single system above a certain attendance mark.
Of course,
at the end of the day,
every event has to pay for it,
Exactly. Yeah. But for instance, for Rocky Mountain, so like Legion gets one, AOS gets one, 40K gets one, of course. I already said Legion, sorry. I forget the other one. I'm so embarrassed. I forget the other one.
Kill Team?
Yeah. It's not like I'm juggling 5 events right now. Oh no, we don't have Kill Team. We couldn't get Kill Team this year.
Yeah, well, 24 players, that's it's hard to subsidize certain things for
Yeah.
smaller
Yeah, we get it.
events and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the benchmark where it makes sense, you know, and like it's a cooler thing to win across everything. But yeah, every single event.
It's really interesting. Did you guys take any inspiration from Worlds? Because Games Workshop just did the same thing, and that's going to lead me into the next question, which I get entirely too much. But first, did the Games Workshop trophies inspire this at all, or was this kind of in the works before that, and it just so happened to coincide that they both kind of just started to happen?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't keep tabs on that. I'd probably Google like what those awards
I
are.
have one. I won one at Worlds. Hold on.
Oh,
Hold on.
no big deal. Just flex. The only ones I've seen were oh yeah.
Yeah, those are the ones.
And it's all metal.
Okay.
It's half Space Marine, half. Yeah.
I was gonna say
nice.
I saw the only time I've seen those awards is because GW actually administered like the hobby track.
Oh yeah,
For LVO. Yeah. No, those
it's the same
those
ones.
are amazing. Yeah. Super heavy. They're made out of metal. Ours are sculpted out of resin. So.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's much more feasible to do it out of.
Yeah.
I would do it out of resin, or I'd cast them in silicone and then cast them in, fiberglass or something like that. Gel coat them into. I'm not going to become a nerd. Okay.
Too late.
My next question is, I get this question a lot. And it's this running thing that keeps happening. It's that Games Workshop owns FLG or owns or runs Las Vegas Open. I know the answer to that. Can you expand upon that and what is the miscommunication that is happening? Why players or YouTubers or anything like that are keep thinking about that? Is that because they kind of run the award ceremony or the pre-show, or do you think that there's a different messaging that you guys can put out there, or what is the goal, the thing to like drive home that that's not true?
It's absolutely not true. But I completely understand where it stemmed from because it got very confusing, especially within the ITC verbiage, the frontline verbiage, and then enter in GW's verbiage. So, where this all started, and this was even when I was on the consumer end, it was just a known thing. Sorry, it was only a known thing for those who knew within like how the ITC was changing. But that's where it stemmed from, is when Games Workshop purchased the ITC and took that over. So then it became a very confusing thing. Like we still get emails to this day saying like, "Hey, I submitted a token." Well, it's not us, man.
Not anymore.
Yeah. But that's where it stemmed from, and I understand it. Like even for like, especially for like newer players that aren't like familiar with all these acronyms and just like the history of 40K and the ITC. Like they might just see it as like, oh, the LVO, like, oh, that's the GW, like the GW tournament, right? Like just from whatever narrative that might stem from. But no, it's not a thing. We work very closely with GW because why wouldn't we? I mean, we literally run massive tournaments. Same thing, like year after year, like we're constantly breaking 40K records for attendance, Age of Sigmar, Kill Team.
Yeah, we also
so close for Old World this year, but
yeah, we also work with Games Workshop, so I totally understand.
Yeah.
Games Workshop doesn't own squad games, like it's the same kind of thing. You guys are just an events company, and we're an events company, right? And a media company. So I think that people definitely need to realize that. But how are you guys going to functionally like put it out there? Are you guys going to do like more media, or is there any other kind of game plan afoot, like a YouTube or anything like that? That's like, hey, it's our event. This is us. This is what we do. Or is there? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, no, for sure. There was 1 year where, and I think this is this is like the comment that kind of ignited everything. And this about the 3.5 years ago was when I jumped in to help with like branding, marketing, and just kind of like revamping like the visual aspects of FLG. So like one of the first comments I had heard about was someone at LVO was like, "Wait, like who's Frontline Gaming or like FLG who?" we just didn't have like a lot of visuals out there.
Yeah.
So, but if you notice now, like no matter where you take a picture at like any event, and with LVO, it's like our logos incorporated into everything. So, I don't, as of now, like it doesn't seem like we need to have like a hard narrative about it. It's on us to remind everybody that like, oh, we're Frontline Gaming. We run these events. That's
That's
I
fair.
guess is the most that we can do at this point.
Yeah, that's fair. The I think that there's a lot of people that just aren't in the know as much, and that might be where some of the confusion comes from. We
Yeah,
try to make sure that everyone, at least in our general vicinity, pretty much knows.
I'd imagine that's where it stemmed from, was that, and
Yeah.
then someone hears something else, and then it just it ends up being a game of telephone. But no, to answer your original question, we're trying to be as active as possible. At the end of the day, within our entire company, we're only 14 people, so we do a lot with a little.
Mhm.
Like our core events team being really like 3 people. It's not massive, but like we all support each other. Like
Yeah, I know how
everyone.
stressed you are because I
Yeah,
run just not nearly as much. I'm like one guy, and I'm stressed out too.
it's hard, right?
It is hard.
Uh,
It is hard.
but yeah, so and of course, like content being as important as it is, in the interim, it's I'd like to do more things like this, where like full-time content creators, they're that's their bread and butter, man. Like,
Yeah,
Hmm.
who are we to say, oh, we're gonna run our own show and do it like regularly?
it's difficult. It's difficult. Trust me. We have
Right.
to squeeze it in when we can.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
the dissemination of information has been super helpful. Like we're very active for whenever we can within like our own like Facebook group community.
Hmm.
Doing like the socials and all that. And like for every now and then, like we will do like an informative YouTube video. But as far as like doing regular content, like honestly, would much rather support our homies like yourself and play on tabletop, Titans, Vanguard Tactics. It's like you guys just do it better.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
I have another question. Now, you said that you only have 14 people, and some people might not know this, right? But you guys outsource a lot of TOs because, you can't have an infinite size company, and, it's hard to kind of do that. So how has it been outsourcing TOs, finding the good ones and then maintaining good, consistency between events each year? And do you ever get like complaints about TOs, or how do you guys deal with that aspect of, because we also have a lot of tournament organizers for Kill Team
Mhm.
who listen to this podcast. And, I'm sure some of their goals is to grow and possibly grow into other events and systems. And like, if I ran 40K currently, I wouldn't have any inkling of how to run this edition, so like
Right.
I'd have to bring in somebody. So
Yeah,
how is that for you guys? Um, you know,
it's a task to say the least. It's not easy. So when I hosted a private meeting within all our currently registered TOs, meaning they have ran an event within the last calendar year for us, ended up at sending out 86 emails.
it's a lot.
That was the invite list. I didn't even know that the number was that big, because like even for LVO alone, like we have a sizable list, right?
Hmm.
But I'm not even including like every like subsequent judge on top of it. We're like literally like the head TOs for all these events. Um, yeah, and what was crazy too is like we still had over 40 like actually like respond and able to make the date and stuff with
Uh-huh.
like
Mhm.
the 3 day notice. So like even having like 45 or 46, however many it was, like live and active, trying to giving the heads up about LVO and all that. Um, everybody's got different needs. Every region has different needs. Every community has different needs. So that's and this is where now, like more than ever, like we just want to listen. We want to listen to what everybody wants, and that's the monumental task. Is again, everybody has different needs, but working with like locals has been critical for the growth of FLG events. And I think why a lot of the TOs like working with us and jumping onto us is because the one thing that we are known for. So like if I had to define FLG events in a nutshell, is like we run the biggest professionally ran tournaments. And I've done it before. Like I've hosted small GTs and like RTTs just because it was like, oh, this is just fun. Like I would love to do a format in the way that I want to do the format. But to be able to piggyback off rather than doing it yourself, it's like, well, how else am I supposed to run like a 100-person event? Like it's the marketing part that's always the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
So working very closely with the TOs, where it's giving each game organizer the freedom and flexibility to like inject what they love about their respective game, what they want to do for their community, and also utilizing local judges whenever we can, because I'm a firm believer in us being the guests within said region. So why not have like a local member of the community be the one that's part of the judging team or the organizing team? But yeah, it's not easy, but thankfully everybody that we work with has one thing in common, and us included, is they just love the game. They want to do cool things, run amazing events, and the way we see it is like, hey, we're here to support that. I wouldn't want to TO myself, 8 games within a weekend. I don't think that's even physically possible. But no, it's a great like collaborative relationship. But like kind of what I alluded to is we're doing more and more. We're doing more and more, starting with the LVO this past LVO, starting with that, and especially for every single thing or every single event that's popping up in 2025, is doing everything we can to make sure that the TOs are reminded that we respect them. We're here to support them, and it's about all we can do.
Yeah, I would say that I have definitely felt the support much more this year than in previous years.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So moving on to this year's Las Vegas Open, talking about why the event changed and stuff like that. Before we get into like all the nitty gritty, because that's why everyone's actually watching this, right? We made them 30 minutes of preamble. Sorry, guys and ladies. A few things about what me and Giacomo are going to do to improve this year's event from last year, right? We hope to have more players, right? We're going to try, we're going to try to have the most recent terrain, if that's possible, from either from Games Workshop or anything else. Hopefully there's the new season that happens. If the new season's terrain is viable, then cool. But it could be too soon for that to happen. Hopefully we get a new approved ops deck, so that, the game is more fresh and we can play on essentially like a new patch. But the main thing is, me and Giacomo and Saya are going to be changing up the format just a tad. We're going to be doing 4 rounds on Friday, 3 rounds on Saturday, and 2 rounds on Sunday. And what that allows is, it's kind of like we used to do 3, 3, and 3, so everyone's done by 5. Now, unfortunately, with the new where the expo, where the event is being held, I don't know if I'm going to start at 9 a.m. anymore. It might be more challenging for people to get to the event. We'll talk to Jake here. We'll find out all the nitty gritty details. Well, if he can expand upon them, right? But we're probably going to push it back to 10. So Friday is going to be a long day. Saturday, we're going to hopefully be done by 5. Everyone can go out and do whatever. Sunday, everyone can, we'll have a lot more time to prepare our award ceremony, hopefully make that better, have a big old screen up with a clock, actually, and I think it's also going to allow us to get out of there early, because it is really difficult for us to pack up, leave by 11 or 10, and then drive home for 5 hours. I get real tired because this guy and my wife just fall asleep on me, right? So I have to stay awake somehow, right? So other than that, players can also plan to leave on Sunday, and not be stressed about time or having to drop, right? We've had a really good success in maintaining people. I think last year we had over 120 people, so we only had 38 people drop before the last round, right? Which is really really good for 9 rounds.
Oh yeah,
and
in Vegas.
Yeah. And something else, Jake, which was astonishing, is our attrition rate was really low.
Yeah.
Considering we had like 174 players buy tickets and 150 show up, that was quite impressive, right? And then they all stuck around, which was crazy. It's probably because of the raffle. Let's be honest. The raffle was nutty. People love those raffles, you know? They like to gamble, you know? So we hope to
Surprise,
have
gamers like to game, Dakota.
I have a tray, something new I'm making.
Ooh. A new item for y'all to see. So those who are listening to the podcast instead
I think
of
the fully
visually.
stacked one is in the other room, but this is going to become a new raffle prize. I think this is the very first one. It's going to be, it holds everything, right?
Nice.
Tokens, wound counters, laser pens, all that kind of stuff. People are going to see it for the very first time at this coming event. So we're going to give away more stuff, do more stuff, and also have the most competitive Kill Team event out there with the best hobby awards and ceremonies, and stream it all. Heaven forbid there's no streaming. Jake, will there be streaming?
Of course there will be streaming.
Okay, awesome.
Whew,
so we're good. We're good. We're good. Everyone who can't make it can watch from home and wish they were going to be there. You know?
This is enlightening. This is enlightening to hear. Like, wait, did we have to address like stuff like that? Like literally, like nothing changes except for the better. Like nothing is getting cut.
I'm just, hey, we got to make sure, because sometimes it's like, hey, are we going to get it? Because like at the All Valley this year, their internet is awful, so we might just have to record and then publish, right? So we're figuring some stuff out on our
Did you have fun with this year's internet connection?
Yes.
Once it was at the Rio.
That's a better Giacomo question. I don't know what happened.
I think we only had 3 blackouts instead of so 2 on one day and then 1 on the other day, and that was it. So more reliable than before.
I'm underestimating, but I shit you not, I had over 100 phone calls back and forth across like everyone involved needing internet, and those responsible for getting the internet live, which we barely did going into day one.
Goodness gracious!
Thank goodness.
Oh, the Rio. Oh, the Rio.
But yes, 100% streaming. Yes.
Yeah. And then also another big improvement is I'm going to buy like a chest speaker, so when I speak to the crowd, everyone can hear me, and we don't do some like weird oratory, like people are encircling me and I'm trying to talk as loud as I can and I can't, right? So there's a lot of improvements on our end. We're going to be doing more stuff. We're going to have cards that we're going to give out, hopefully dictating what rounds are going to be, when the rounds are going to start, so on and so forth. We're going to have really beautiful table numbers that I'm printing on my Bamboo Labs. And we're just trying to up our game every year and trying to make it the best event experience that anyone will ever enjoy. And that is our main goal and philosophy: provide beautiful terrain painted at least with 3 colors and make sure that you have a good time, because our main goal at Squad Games is to make sure that you come to another Squad Games event. It's not that you have fun, but it's that you had a good enough time, because who knows, maybe you get cooked every round and you're like, bro, I hate this fucking sucks, right? But you're like, yo, I won a fully painted army. I'm coming back next year, Yeah, I don't know. Whatever it takes to make you come back, that's what we're going to try to do, right? We want to improve the ambiance, make sure that we're working with Games Workshop, FLG, and other content creators. We have Command Point coming this year. We have a whole bunch of stuff lined up. So as much as Las Vegas information that you're going to get from Jake here, we're going to have a ton as well. And we have people coming hopefully from Australia. We're going to have people coming from Canada, Great Britain. It's going to be awesome. So, so now we're going to ask Jake a bunch of questions.
Dude, I'm hyped, man. I couldn't be happier making this move with you guys. And then that's a good point, right? So it's like, we had 158 people, but you remember being on the back end TO side of things, is we had to wait for other game systems' final attendance in order to ramp up and release more tickets. Dude, that sucks. Like honestly, that sucks. I made a post about this within like our Facebook group, addressing one of these, like about like why did we do this? Well, there's very few people that know the feeling of like literally having to tell a longtime tournament organizer at LVO, sorry, we can't host you this year.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like not that crass, but it's like, dude, that it just sucks, man. Or like to be to say like, oh, we need 50 more seats for Kill Team. Sorry, we're capped.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a great problem to have, but that still sucks.
Yeah.
And like, so you copy and paste that within like, let's call it 8 game systems. You know, that's 8 TOs. That's 8 communities that were just
thrown
so
to
now,
the wayside. Yeah.
158 players. Like, dude, if you can handle it, 300.
Yeah.
We can do that now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And FLG might be working on a Kill Team terrain set.
Oh, that's another
Oh.
question I was going to ask. That's exciting. We have our own MDF. I can't wait to see what FLG's does. We love FLG's Kill Team mats, right? We have a couple of our own for our narrative games and stuff. I'm not nearly as good of an artist as any of the people at FLG, so a lot of my stuff is, you can tell when Dakota makes a game mat, right? Because we're making an Into the Dark mat. You can tell. It's like, oh, that's an art style. Like I have a specific art style, right? I might be able to pull it up here.
All I'm hearing is collaboration opportunities within squad games and FLG at this point. It's not like we make mats and terrain in house or anything.
Yeah, so we have I think Into the Dark map coming out. We have 2 open mats, and this year we focused on, we also have a laser cut terrain, right? I'm super excited to see what FLG comes out with, and see if it's competitive, right? Or if you guys go the beta Decima route, don't.
I mean,
don't
I'm going to probably ask you your input too. So, and then squad games graffiti art on
there we go.
Buildings.
There we go. Yeah. I think we had about 3 or 4 different styles in the years past, but when, I know FLG dealt with this. This is a question completely off the list. When Warhammer 40K changed its style, right? And completely basically nullified your old terrain, right? Player place terrain, all that kind of stuff. One of my goals was to make sure that our old terrain, I mean, I didn't throw it out. It's all in my storage, but I have a ton of just old terrain that's no longer really viable for Kill Team. And me and Giacomo spent fucking weeks and months leading up to LVO, coming out with new Vulcus terrain and this and that. It was just a nightmare, but we wanted to make sure that we had the most up-to-date competitive terrain. And I know FLG has had to do that with Warhammer, and you guys have a vastly bigger game system. How was that? And how did you guys tackle that?
It was excruciating. And like, we weren't pushing back within what the community was saying. It's like we were just trying to like echo like, hey, look, at the end of the day, we don't know how the rules are going to change, if it's going to revert back or go back. And player place terrain, which I felt was the perfect solution at the time, to make it as fair as possible within the very much like changing rule sets within what 40K was going through. But then knowing that, hey, like this kind of templated setup is just the way it is. So we just decided to make that push to go to the GW layout and the static terrain, because it is organized play, it's match play, it's just the way the game is going. We manufactured like upwards of 400 additional sets.
It's crazy.
Sidelined 400 sets, and guys, this isn't cheap.
I know.
Or easy to do. Like literally, people have to do it. So Mike, who most people that attend our events know, because he's literally our road warrior, organizes everything terrain related for us. But like, Mike spearheading this and organizing within our entire team. The dude, we were all building terrain. I even had my wife was fucking building terrain. Like literally everybody, all hands on deck. But that's what it takes. It's not
It
just like,
does.
oh, like
Mhm.
here, it's so easy to complain about, I don't like this, I don't like that. Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair and valid. But imagine running a 40K tournament for 1,200 people.
Yeah,
Right.
it's crazy. We had
And like, how do you do that? 600
we
terrain sets. This is how you do that.
Yeah.
yeah, me and Giacomo had to well, I had a bunch of people come over to my house like 3 or 4 times last year, and it was just like 10 people for 4 days just putting pieces together. And then when they would leave, I would just keep going, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like painting stuff, coming up with 3D versions so we could 3D print them, and like coming up with the MDF stuff. And then
Yeah.
the craziest thing is I'm seeing people like the WTC organizers and people from Australia, like bands. He bought like 40 Volcus sets, you know, like full plastic sets, which is
Wow.
amazing for his player base.
Yeah.
But what in 3 or 4 years, what if Volcus is no longer, you know, playable, right?
Yeah.
And like I have a shit ton of Volcus now. I hope that doesn't happen, but you know, Games Workshop has to sell. We play their game. They have to
Yep.
sell terrain, right? So
Yep.
if they want to change stuff, we're kind of at their mercy.
And that's the thing. You never know. Like, you,
Yeah.
you just never know what might happen.
Mm-hmm. So to any TO out there, you know, always keep looking at the things competitively, right? See what, because events are typically competitive and people are going to want to see that kind of terrain. So if you have the means to invest in GW plastic, that it's the most beautiful stuff out there. If you have to make your own, you know. One of the few things that Giacomo, what is the main thing that made me mad, that made me want to start squad games with the terrain when I
Oh,
would go
man.
to events?
You looked at some of it and you go, really? I could have made this out of like trash or something, you know? like straight up, you told me something exactly like that. Like, really? They used this thing? Okay.
It was just styrofoam. They
it was
just
just
made, they put
styrofoam.
styrofoam on the table, and I was like, what the you know? Like,
Look, we've all been there. We've
yeah.
saved soda cans and made.
I've definitely done that myself. I've made trash
Yeah.
train before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Trash trains
started in
is
like
cool.
3rd edition fantasy. Like, we definitely just
Right.
played on the floor. Okay.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
all been there.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's kind of where Frontline Gaming started. Because what's interesting is that back in the day, back in like the 2000s, early 2000s, when I first started playing, I think I started the year of 2000, Games Workshop had white dwarfs showing people how to make terrain out
Yeah.
of trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Or out of cartons or out of this. And they don't do that anymore. But like, that's where the basis of our community comes from. Like, sure, FLG has professional equipment. We have professional equipment. And if you don't have professional equipment, that doesn't mean that you can't go and make actual foam terrain that looks good. There's tons of
Mhm.
YouTubers out there that teach you how to buy a Proxon cutter and cut terrain and make it. You know, it can be very rewarding, even for just your home games, right? You don't feel always that you have to go out and buy stuff from us, from FLG or from Games Workshop. Feel free to love the game, what you do, and enjoy the hobby, right? But now we'll get back to FLGs. You know, sorry. I totally
Little tangent.
I went way off into the
This is
weeds
going to
there.
be the problem. We can probably talk for years.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
So one of the main questions is, when deciding to make to change venues, what was the main concern, and why did you choose this particular venue?
Well, so the
Especially
two-part
something
question,
this size.
So the venue is the easier question to answer. So I've actually worked with them in the past in my previous life. It's a relatively newer facility, very fresh, and it is the second largest convention space in Las Vegas. So that says a lot. First one being, of course, the Las Vegas Convention Center, which has been around forever, but it's just different. Like with a fresher space, like in a newer type of venue. It's just cleaner. It's clean. It's easy to work with. There's growth potential. There's actually like a lot more space within subspaces as part of the World Market Center that we can actually grow into. Not that I think that we're going to outgrow this anytime soon, but you know, at this rate, because dude, it's not just 1, 2, or 10 TOs saying like, put me down for like 50 more tables, 20 more tables, 30 more tables. So like what we originally thought was like we could literally just do donuts in the convention hall. Now it's like, I hope this is big enough for this year.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is essentially an American football field because we have people who watch from all over, which is it's 100 yards, so 300 feet by like 600 feet, right? So it's essentially like how many is that? That's like 4 football fields next to each other, right? All
Wow,
laid out
that's
next to each
massive.
other. Yeah, it's pretty massitive. I could
Yeah.
see myself doing supersets across, every 5
Oh,
yards
yeah.
running back and forth,
Oh, we're as soon as the first time we walked it, 100%. We're already looking into like some group scooter rentals.
Mm.
This is actually the venue that I blew out my knee like six years ago or 5 years ago. Sorry,
Jeez. Calm down.
like I
Calm
was
down,
literally
Chad.
just walking. I was literally just walking.
Oh no.
Granted, I was in dress shoes, but still, it's like
Yeah.
20,000 steps will do that to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know, so it's like, yeah, the scooter maybe because I might look young, but I'm not young. But apparently,
It's
like
good genetics. Good genetics.
what started as a joke might lead to we might just have like scooter rentals on site.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I
Mhm.
can see that.
Yeah.
One of the other main questions, this is actually from a Patreon member, Kill Team Stream or Kill Team Memes, is that now he's now known as on our Discord at least, wants to know if the registration is going to be entirely indoors or if the line is going to go outside.
Entirely indoors, and this
Okay.
is one of the things that we are working very, very heavily on as we have year after year. So, I mean, it sucks standing in line. Like that is literally like the worst thing that I personally struggle with. Like
Mhm.
if I have to wait, 3 people deep at a McDonald's line, might go
I'm
somewhere
out.
else. I get it. Like I totally get it. Um, so this last year was a massive improvement, but I think we did almost too good of a job communicating like, hey, registration is on Thursday. Because like we've done our events hub,
The
like
line
we've
was
set up better.
massive on
Yeah.
Thursday.
So we were in panic mode because like we literally had more registration desks. We had different lines. We had shit so organized, but then this line was relentless. We're like, is the entirety of like 5,000 people here right now? Like on Thursday night? Because the line was like beyond the casino, and I've never seen that. Like beyond the casino for like
Yeah, it
an
was
hour
crazy.
straight. But that's like it's not a great experience.
Yeah.
But I would say on average, so like we were clocking it just because we were always trying to get our benchmark. I don't think anybody, even for this year, had to wait longer than an hour to get through that line.
Okay. That's good.
But again, it's a benchmark that we want to improve on. So for those that remember, even 3 years ago, it was like 3 to 4 hours. It was insane. So we're constantly improving in the systems, and this is a good way to touch on like definitely know that the change to a resort not being attached to this is we knew before even anybody said anything that we would have to figure out some kind of like locker / storage situation. In a perfect world, for like anybody that has like swag and stuff ordered, there's a pickup system, which also falls in line with the locker system. But that is a very tall order to be able to like build something like that out.
Especially for just 14 members of staff.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's just like our actual staff, but of course we have like general
Of course.
contractors and labor
Yeah.
that we're going to need for this year. But it's still like it's a very highly technical build out in a space that we don't own.
Mhm.
So like, what does that look like, right? And while we probably don't need to accommodate for all 5,000 plus, but even building out 2,000 lockers is a task in itself. But
Yeah.
100% actively working on it. But if we could couple that in with registration and thus eliminating the line by another half, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Another thing, which I guess you can quote me on, is and Dakota, you'll appreciate this. So set up for internal, including TOs and vendors, can officially happen on Wednesday.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh.
Miraculous.
Wow.
And
Amazing.
And we have until 5 p.m. on Monday to get out.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's a beautiful
That's a
thing.
huge improvement.
Okay. All right.
That's
You
what it
know?
took, huh? No.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys are cooking with gas now.
Yeah. All right.
No, but that's
TOs
a
are
huge
happy.
thing. That's a
Yeah.
huge thing. Like you've been there. Some years we've gotten Wednesday from the Rio. Some years we don't. And the years that we don't, oh my God.
Yeah, it can be rough.
Yeah.
Having to set up everything, set up the store, and then it's interesting at Worlds. Everything is supposed to be set up before registration, so that when everyone walks in, everything looks pristine, right?
Yeah. Sorry, that's where I was going with that. Regarding the members' question, yeah, there's about 12,000 square feet of registration area,
Mm,
which is so absolutely we're going to be inside. But what the play is now is now that we have access to that Wednesday, why not registration kind of be starting at 9 o'clock on Thursday,
yeah,
all throughout the day?
yeah, yeah. That's great.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fantastic. So registration earlier on Thursday, all day Thursday,
Yeah.
and um, are those players allowed to walk around the entire event hall? So like we should probably be at our area, right? Probably for
Yeah,
most
and
of the day.
those are the nuances that we're
Yeah.
like, let's figure out because
Mhm.
for vendors and exhibitors that attend the LVO, these are very long days because they mimic the tournament schedule.
Mhm.
But like,
Absolutely.
I don't think I could in good conscience ask vendors like, hey, yeah, be set up by 9 a.m. on Thursday. So we'll figure out the hours. So like maybe
Yeah.
just, registration starts, let's say at 9
Mhm.
o'clock on Thursday, but then the vendor hall opens at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we'll make sure that we have that, and hopefully we'll have some special packages for everyone. And usually what we do for our stuff is that we usually make like custom colored Kill Team accoutrement.
Mhm.
So that's awesome. Now, here's the biggest question that I've been asked, and I can't tell you how many people have asked this question. A lot of people are worried. I find it weird that people ask this question. And I'll explain my reasonings before you answer. Giacomo, you can also expand if you've ever dealt with anything like this. Um, a lot of people are worried that's going to be difficult to get to this place from the Golden Nugget, right? The Golden Nugget is the hotel registration, and they're like, is Uber's going to be able to do it? What if they don't have a car? Is there going to be a shuttle? One of the questions is there going to be like an extra payment that they can do to make sure that they get on the gold bus at 8 a.m. So that there's 60 tickets for that one. There's 60 tickets for the 8:15. There's 60 seats for the 8:45, whatever it is, right? Or is it just a specific shuttle bus? Are you guys looking into that? Personally, I went to San Diego Comic-Con, and I would stay 3/4 of a mile away. I would dress up as Batman, and I'd walk through the city. It would take me 2 hours because everyone wanted to take a damn picture with me because I look so fucking good as Batman. Okay. I was a DC approved Batman at Six Flags. There's a reason why. Okay.
Oh,
Everyone's
shit.
like, oh shit, this fucking guy.
I love Batman. I'm gonna need that picture. I'll be the judge.
Yeah. And so then I sculpted my own Batman mask, so on and so forth. I'm not going to get crazy with it. So I am used to walking to events and spaces because I would like to save money, right? Now, I get it. LVO might be hot. People have to push their armies, You don't think it's going to be hot in October?
Dude, I've been here 22 years.
Ah.
October is one of my favorite months.
Oh,
Really?
oh, okay. All right.
All
right.
Google it.
Okay.
Highs in the low 80s.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Not bad. Yeah. So like, maybe we can organize a squad gains march, where we can walk from Golden Nugget as a bunch of, people, drink little berry shakes, have little neon fucking bands, and walk to the venue, be like,
That's
maybe
a weird way to call tequila, but yeah, I get what you're trying.
Hey, people can put tequila in it,
Yeah, you
All
can
right.
have a protein tequila.
Yeah, but like
No, it's definitely a concern. And again, like those two things are the number one thing, or the number one things I should say, that we knew was going to be the biggest deviation. And like not at all like are we trying to come across as pretentious by saying like, look, almost all cons aren't attached to a hotel and casino.
correct.
And that
correct.
is a problem, right? Like that's
Mhm.
that's fundamentally a problem within an event like LVO. It's like there's really no other venue that could take us.
Yeah.
Within our own footprint. Actually, MGM was the only other one that could, just for the record. But let's just say LVO would have cost attendees about close to triple to make it even viable.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Makes sense though.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, wait, okay, it's not an option.
Mhm.
But no, traditionally, like conventions aren't like no matter what industry, it's just typically not attached when you get to like a certain size in the space.
Mhm.
So we walked through the space also because Virko's Vault, who administered our hobby program for the first time last year, they're serious like artists and stuff. They've done this, like, you know, one of the gals runs the hobby program at Adepticon, like she knows her shit.
Mhm.
So she's dealt with convention spaces before, so they naturally like did the walk from actually a little further than the Nugget. I think they just walked from the plaza. It was about 20 minutes. No one's asking anybody to walk, of course, but because we just know that this is a thing. Hence the locker solution, which we're going to figure out, and the details of that. We've tasked 2 companies about the shuttle bus scenario.
Amazing.
God bless one of the companies was like, oh yeah, no problem, we can handle that. I'm like, look, between like 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., you're going to need to shuttle like at least 2,000 people within that 2-hour time block. Do not underestimate this. I know even like a tour bus only fits like 70 people.
Yeah.
I was like, this is like a real thing. So I'm giving you all the numbers and all the schedules. Like, you know, you hit us with like a definitive program, not a, yeah, I could do this.
And some of those people might be bringing armies with them, because what if they don't want to do the locker program?
Yeah, and it'd be crazy to think that like literally every attendee wants to do the shuttle bus. A lot of people have cars. We have a big local turnout. People just want to Uber. Like people will walk, whatever it might be. So like, you know, whatever the breakdown within the numbers are, it's just we will make options available to help with that blow. Like regardless, like even if we had never done LVO attached to a resort before, this would be something, and this is what like FLG is about, because we're about the user experience. We're about the attendees experience. It's like, it just feels right to figure out a solution when it comes to like the most cumbersome aspects of it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's important.
Now, before I move on to like my next question, I know that I stated our goal as a company is like, I want people to come back to my events, right? Does FLG have like a standard like goal, you know, like, or like a mantra that just like is your kind of like running philosophy?
To be champions of the community.
Okay.
And if you think about it, it goes really, really deep. Not saying that we hit it perfectly every single time, but like that's the driving force. Do right by the players, do right by the game, you know, even within the rule set. Like we're known for running big tournaments, but it's, you know, recently we took a very active approach to like really protecting the integrity of each game. You know, so like stuff like that. Just for everyone to have a good experience, for the community to drive what it is that we do within our company. Like we're not one of those that say like, hey, we're doing this and, you know, we know best. Just like the whole like player placed in 40K versus like a match play setup. Like we didn't come out and say like, no, we know best. We're just explained like why it's not as easy as just flipping the switch.
Yeah,
within reason, right? But look at what we did.
Yeah,
we did it. We did it. But you know, I'd like to think that most people that have been familiar with us and how we do things well before my time, you know, understands and appreciates that it's like literally like it's everything we do is community driven. Yeah.
How does the venue change from the Rio to to this location? How does it fundamentally make the Las Vegas Open a better experience for players rather than a detriment?
It makes it better because there's going to be a lot more going on. There's going to be a lot more that comes with the con badge, if you will. There's going to be a lot more to see. There's a lot more to do. I mean, hell, we're expecting actually on the low a 500-person card game tournament between Wizards of the Coast, who's approved us, as well as Flesh and Blood.
Really, Flesh and Blood, Mike? You hear that? I have to text him. You know, he's gonna freak out. Sorry, go ahead.
So we partnered up with someone that really knows what they're doing. And we'll announce that soon enough. But like I said, on the low 500, a 500 person tournament across those TCGs. On the high, I think we're gonna cap it at like 1,000.
Easy.
Awesome.
Because again,
Easy.
like what if everything goes red hot?
Yeah.
Right.
Verko's vault is taking like 10,000 square feet. And then the TCG is going to take about like 20,000. So that's already 30,000. So we're almost at a quarter of the actual like footprint right there.
How many feet do you think Kill Team will take up this year with like
You
36
tell
inches?
me how much terrain can we make?
Oh,
And that's
I mean,
the beauty of this.
we won't have a problem with terrain. Let's just say
We will make.
I think between both of us,
yeah.
if we want to, if we had demand for 300, we could probably do 300.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That's
sky's the limit.
fabulous.
And that's the thing. It's not just like, oh, I'm dying to get into this game, or I can, this game only has like 24 max capacity. It's not that. And that's what's different. But definitely just more of like a spectacle. Like we're gonna have so many vendors there. Like, dude, vendors are super excited about this. Like
awesome.
vendors out of the entire like community crowd, they know what like a con should look like and a con should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now within that growth, like we actually like advertise this as like, come through Vegas locals, like bring the kids. Like it's cool. It's not just a tournament,
Yeah, Giacomo, you had a question specifically about it becoming like a convention and more things they're offering. You want to ask that?
Yes, I do. So obviously, with the expansion of space and of games, what about the expansion of classes that attendees can look forward to? Because when I started going to LVO, I did classes before I actually started playing games.
Mm-hmm. We're talking hobby specifically.
Yeah, so whether it's hobby classes or whatever, what are we looking forward to that?
Yeah, so that's where Vertical's Vault comes in, and they did a phenomenal job last year, given like the resources that they had. Now with unlimited space, let's just say the hobby hub might be part of the con badge.
Okay.
Hell
where there's just, I don't know, like world famous artists like running classes all day, every day type of thing.
Amazing. That's awesome.
That is one of my favorite things, honestly.
Yeah. So like it's so easy to say like, oh, it's more space. Well, that means a lot.
Right.
We can do more.
Going to one of the other questions that we had from one of our patrons, do you think, what percentage do you think this is going to increase the prices of our tickets? If you had to do a relative guess, I'm not asking for, what each ticket's, you know what I mean? Do you think that you could probably say like, is it going to be about the same, maybe 10, 20, 30, 100? Do you have like about the same? Wow. Amazing.
Wow, amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah, entirely.
Like no joke. If wherever we can drop it, we will.
Yeah.
Like we're not that kind of company.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that this space is cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
But on our internal end, like there's washes and balances.
You can sell special buses, you can do a whole kind of crazy cool stuff. I'm just saying, there's other ways to market this thing, make it, if people that want to spend more money always have spent more money.
Yeah.
Right? Waiting for the FLG copter.
Yeah. Let's see here. G, what were did you have any other questions, G? Cause I have a couple more,
we already got one of my questions answered, but and the other one was also answered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, both of them were answered, so we're good to go.
Okay.
Look at me talking a lot, rambling.
Hey, that's
answering
perfect.
questions.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it's great because I ramble too. Giacomo just sits there and is like,
yeah.
For venue and navigation, no, not that one. So food and amenities. We had a lot of these questions. This comes from Marty on shout out to Marty. He did a great job shoutcasting the Las Vegas Open with Giacomo this past year, and everyone loves Marty. They're like, yeah, that guy's voice is just smooth.
It's great, and he is so knowledgeable.
He really is. He really is. So Marty had a couple questions. Do you know what food options are going to be available on site?
Yes. So I did send you guys the floor plan map, and actually, let's hit two birds with one stone because I know you were asking about restrooms, the restroom, and
Mhm.
maybe the water situation at the same
Uh-huh.
time. I don't know if
Okay.
you can like cast that floor plan up, but
Yeah, I can. Give me a second. I'm going to go to
yeah.
a different one. It's not
So
this one.
food options, and I'll answer this to fill the space while you handle like the high tech stuff. But food options wise, there's basically like a cafeteria on site. We're going to get food trucks even up front, just so people have options. But as far as like cafeteria, like we will be able to dictate that menu. So within this convention space in particular, the company, the local company that handles like the catering, if you will, or the food and beverage, is the same company that handles basically all the food on the strip. So
Okay.
it is literally the menus that we dictate. We're not at the mercy of a single chef. It is, hey, we want high end, we want low end, whatever it is. Sky's the limit. Will there be bars everywhere? 100%,
Of
dude.
course, right?
100%. It is a Vegas convention center, like that. That should be like a given. We're so a kind of vision that we have in mind. Oh, there it is. Vision
Yeah,
that we
there
have
we
in
go.
mind is doing like a big ass centralized bar, like a hangout. I got shot down on this because I took it too far, but I was telling Frankie, I'm like, dude, imagine if it was a fucking swim up bar, like an indoor pool. Like, let's do it. Let's go. While the
You went
intent
full
is
Slanesh.
sound.
Slanesh has
Yes.
invaded your
Yeah,
access, right?
absolutely.
The Slanesh release has really gotten to you.
It'd be
Yeah, but
cool, but I don't think we're gonna do a swim up bar. But no, seriously, like a centralized, like themed bar, like a cantina, if you will, like smack down in the center of this, like tying everyone and everything together, is kind of going to be like centralized point. But all throughout, dude, there's going to be bars everywhere. There's going to be food options everywhere. So if you look on the map on the upper right hand corner is like one of the biggest or like the bigger cafeteria space,
Mhm.
okay.
in marked in green, and then same
It's
thing on
over
the
here.
upper left.
Over
Yep.
here, right?
Yeah, the marked
Okay.
in green.
Uh-huh.
And then restroom points, like obviously like convention size restrooms. So as in like the one,
Amazing.
2, 3, 4, 5. I want to say it's like 5
Yeah,
all in
1,
all.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
Mhm.
good.
And they also have water stations.
I
So
will say this is immensely smaller than the San Diego Convention Center, just because I've been there so many times. But that's not saying this is small as this is massive. It reminds me of this of Comic Con. It's exciting.
right.
This is massive.
Are you guys? Is there going to be any kind of a stage? Are you guys going to do a cosplay
Mhm.
contest? Like, what's going on with that?
Yes, sir. And just for the record, sorry, we're not a 130,000 attendee event. We're gonna be smaller than the San Diego Comic Con.
one day, right? I tell you
Um,
what, that place is crazy.
oh
Like the
yeah, dude.
amount of people that are just nuts to butts, even the people in the wage cage working the event, it's crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy times.
yeah. Yeah, so stage, that's all on us too. All the audio
Okay.
visual, like literally we can do whatever we want at this point.
Oh, amazing. Fantastic.
I love that.
Aisle
Yeah.
signs, saying like, oh, 40K. Kill
Yeah,
Team,
that's a big one. Is where to
Sigmar.
directions
Oh,
and stuff.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's cool,
Because I imagine this is a big open space, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so like we're definitely like how can I tell the difference with that guy playing a game and that guy playing a game? They look
Mm.
almost the same unless you look closely, right?
Yeah,
We're
so
gonna
what are we working with? 542 feet wide?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about 4 football fields laid next to each other in width, and then 1 football field
Yeah.
in height. A little bit more than
Yeah.
1 football field, but
Mhm.
yeah. Amazing.
That's huge.
American football field, everyone. Europeans,
American
and
football,
Australians.
that's
yeah.
correct. Yes.
So to actually like put it into scale, just for those that are kind of like envisioning this, because it can look small, right?
Mhm.
Uh, what our program last year at the Rio? Let's eliminate all stages, all just usable space only. I think we barely took up about 3/4 of one of the halls that used to be here.
Really? So it was like this much.
Yeah, if we put everybody like back to back.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That's crazy. That's actually
barely 3/4, maybe closer to the half mark than I would say 3/4.
oh, that's nutty. That is crazy. Yeah, so this is exciting, the food and concessions. So there's no like actual food brands. Now the other question is, um, we've had well, I lost it. I'm gonna have to pull it back up. People have been asking, there's gonna be tons of alcohol for sure. We answered that. Are you allowed to bring in outside food and beverages, or is it just strictly convention food and beverages only? Or do you know yet?
That's always such a hard question.
It is. It is.
So like if our venue saw me say this, that we really don't care and it doesn't affect us, that I don't think they'd be that happy.
Yeah, that's fair. So don't do it.
It's at the mercy of like, hey, which
if you have hypoglycemia, you can bring in some food, right?
Yeah. Like legitimately, like unless they're like extremely like strict about it, and most in really like any state you're in, like they're explicit on do not bring in outside alcohol.
Yeah, yeah.
But everybody does it anyway,
all the time.
They kind of do. They kind of do. Yeah. So that's fantastic. We got the bathrooms, fun segments. Here's a one last before we get into our fun segment. Is it going to be more expensive? Okay, it's easy. This is an easy question. Is this closer to the Las Vegas airport than the Rio, or is the Rio further for people Ubering from the airport to the Golden Nugget or to wherever they choose to stay?
It's not that far. It's not that far off. So this venue is pretty much located like a hair closer from downtown Las Vegas. The Rio really, I mean, the Rio is not on the Strip. To be clear,
right?
Like not even remotely. Like if I'm sure anybody that's walked from the Rio to actually go onto the Strip was like, holy
minutes.
shit, that's not a
that's
thing.
crazy. Yeah.
But it's probably about like 5 minutes further out.
Okay, it's not bad.
It's not bad at
all. Straight freeway instead of getting off on Flamingo. For those that are familiar with Vegas, you just get off on Charleston.
That's fair. That's fair. I guess we'll move into this the fun segment. I had one more question, but it slipped my mind because I have ADHD. It's fantastic stuff.
Oh, and the Golden Nugget too. I have mentioned this.
Like, that's it. That's it. That's the question.
Yeah, so that's where we're gonna get the room block, and that's it was a big portion for us too. It's like, hey, that's where we're hanging out. That's where we're staying. That's where we're gonna throw the. Oh, so speaking of like a swim up pool, they do have a swim up pool.
Oh,
and that patio area, which they have a shark tank, mind you, like with a slide. They do have a swim up bar that can accommodate upwards of like 1,200 people. So after party, that's
amazing.
What we're doing. Because that's like the magic of LVO too, where it's like you walk, after the event or after your game or whatever, you just run into somebody, like just hang out. And
is that happening on Thursday or is it happening on Friday or?
Oh, definitely Friday.
Friday, okay.
Yeah, either Friday or Saturday, but most likely Friday.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I attended a bunch of things at LVO this year. It was quite fun, quite enjoyable. It is during me and my wife's anniversary, so I'm expecting one of those nights I'm going to take my wife out to a Gordon Ramsay place, not the burger place.
No,
not as big of a fan. Me and G went there recently.
Sounds like I have to get you guys a suite for the night or for the weekend.
That would be awesome. Not gonna lie.
Where I was going with that too, because I too have the ADHD. And my meds have absolutely worn off now. But the Golden Nugget average room night rate is slated to be about $129 a night.
Wow, that's super good.
Cheaper, but nicer, because Golden Nugget, like it's had a negative connotation because it's old property. They have just about as many rooms as the Rio does in its entirety, by the way. But they're like massively renovated as of was it 5 years ago?
I was reading up on that. I was curious about it.
Yeah, there's
people. I shit you not. It is a nicer property for less.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's somebody on our Discord that was like, "Oh yeah, that's where old people go and stay, and like it's so old." And I was like, "Hey, well, I was told it just got recently renovated, so maybe give it a shot." Because I remember going to the Golden Nugget with my grandparents, so it actually has a really close place to my heart. Because that was my grandparents' just favorite. Golden Nugget there and the Golden Nugget in Laughlin, that was their jam,
One would hope that it's been renovated since then.
Yeah. So that's awesome. That's fantastic news. Do you guys have any funny or memorable moments from from LVO, just in general, from the amount of times or years that we've spent there? Do you guys have anything that's been, hilarious, funny?
That's a tall ask, bro.
I've been too stressed to notice anything be funny whatsoever,
Yeah, like legitimately, I'm trying to like, wait, let me compartmentalize like what goes on in my mind at LVO.
I've had a lot of really good experiences at LVO, right? A lot of
And
like
then also
player
like
memories.
what is PC? What is politically correct? What happened like during hours?
We're past 10. We're past 10 minutes. You could say whatever you want at this point.
Only the diehards are actually still listening,
That's fair.
Put that in the comments if you're this far.
We'll have to do a Squad Games Redacted episode only for Patreon members about the crazy TO stuff.
I'd be into it. We make it a drinking game too.
There you go.
Yeah, that would be.
That is way too hard for me to answer.
That's fair.
That's the
That's
question
fair.
that I get stuck on.
Yeah, that's the veto. That's his veto. All right,
Okay,
that's
no
fair.
worries.
It's like literally
Yeah.
everything that I have in mind is like, wait, can I tell that or not?
That's true, because what legally, who the parties involved,
Gia, do we have anything that's been like hella funny? I don't think that there's been. I don't think I've just like giggled my ass off. I don't think that's a thing.
Not funny. This was the last year that I played in competitive 40K. I had my contacts with me. I didn't bring my glasses, and one of my contacts fell out, and I just lost it. So the whole day I was just only using my left eye to try to see everything, and that was like, thankfully I didn't have to drive. But that's like the only funny thing I can think of in the last LVO.
I have like a story that made me feel good. I'll share that one. It was when I was not being a TO, I was being a player in LVO 2020, and I was playing against a Warp Coven player, and I apologized to him. I was like, "Hey, dude, just so you know, my wife plays Warp Coven, so I played against your team a lot, so I kind of know what to do. I'm sorry if I beat you. It's just I have a lot of practice against your team." And then I commenced to beat him 24-0. He didn't score a single point. It made me feel real good, and I laughed. I chuckled inside, and I couldn't say anything. And then I told him how to beat me, right? I told him how to beat me. The very next day, I had to play the guy who was standing right next to him, playing the same team to play me, and I barely beat that guy. I told him how to beat me, and I still beat him. Let's go. Yeah. That's my competitive side coming out. Yeah.
There you go. Oh, another funny one. I won't say the person's name, but they know who they are. They were given a ticket with a certain name on there. And again, I won't give too many details to not call them out. And they decided to go home instead of pick up their trophy. So that was pretty funny.
I'll say it. Matthew Melton.
There you go.
This guy, it was one of my favorite moments of the Las Vegas Open, him winning one of Games Workshop's trophies by cutting out his orcs. I don't know if you were there at the award ceremony, but he cut out his orcs and hollowed them out and said they were purple orcs. And then he was like, "No, I'm not. There's no way I'm going to get an award." And he left. And then he won something,
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite moments.
It was pretty funny.
just seeing Melty, where he's grown as a hobbyist from when we first went to 40K events with him, and he was like, paint, what's that? To like where he's at now.
Phenomenal.
Amazing.
Phenomenal.
Amazing.
I'm so proud of him.
Mm-hmm.
I'll dunk on him.
Well, he's not alone. If he's watching, he's not alone. We probably shipped out like 20 or so LVO awards this time for just people that didn't think they were going to win one.
Right, which is great. That's showing how good people are getting at the hobby. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So, final thoughts about LVO, and we could go on a tangent if we want, but wrapping up LVO itself, Jake, where do you see FLG and the Las Vegas Open in the next 5 years?
5 years, huh?
5 years, yeah.
I'm gonna start with 3.
Okay.
In 3 years, I hope that we're having this conversation about we just capped out on space, right? Because at the end of the day, like our goal for LVO is to run just a cool ass global party. That's it. So if everything goes kind of according to like how we think it's gonna go, I would say by the 3-year mark, we might have to have that consideration of do we have to annex?
Mm-hmm.
Again, a great problem to have, but I don't actually like realistically think that that's going to be anytime, soon. but it would definitely be that. It's, like, we have the utmost respect for like the gaming conventions that have grown to the size that they have, because it's a spectacle. Like, we
Mhm.
already have that within the tournament side of things, and LVO will never change in that respect, because that's what the LVO is. It's a big ass tournament, right?
Mhm.
And that's our bread and butter. Everything else is just like ancillary to that, but it's all about providing just a better, cooler experience. So by the 5 year mark, if I would have to guess, for the 5 year mark, is like everything within years 1 to 3 uh, hit that goal of just being bigger, cooler, more fun. And by the 5 year mark, I don't know, man. That's 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 far into the future.
It is. It is far.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping we can see that
2030.
2030.
Yeah. I know it's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
You're almost a graphics card.
Yeah. I'm hoping for Kill Team at Las Vegas Open. I'm hoping in 3 years we've completely doubled from where we are now. Right. I'm hoping that we're at least 300 players. And if we don't hit that mark by year 3, hopefully we're at that mark in year 5. In year 5, I think a lot of that's going to come down to Games Workshop, right? They're doing a lot of things with Kill Team, and as long as those things continue to be positive and grow that way for the game, I could see the game continue to grow endlessly, right? There's a lot of spread support about it and all that kind of stuff, and it has also yet to see the classified and unclassified system that Games Workshop is using, and whether or not that becomes a staple, or like what I've said in the past, if we would rather do a more Magic the Gathering style system where Games Workshop stops selling a team at the two, and then 2 years later, then it gets declassified, rather than them just being like, well, we were selling this in June, and now in August or whenever the thing is, they're like, we're not selling it anymore, and you can't use the team anymore, right? I think
Right.
that people who just bought it, who aren't in the know, are going to think relatively negative, and that would possibly hurt the growth of the game. So I think it's up to third-party TOs to continue to grow the game system in a healthy way, rather than just blindly following something that's untested, right? So relatively caution with that kind of stuff, and we'll kind of see how things grow from there.
And
But
I
yeah,
firmly believe that the Kill Team community could do it. I mean, even just this year alone, like, we weren't sure, like, where our Armada and X-Wing were going to go, because you guys know what happened there.
Mhm.
They're unsupported.
Mhm.
But dude, the community is seeming like stronger than ever right now.
yeah,
Mind
it's
you, like,
interesting.
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting. We experienced something similar with Kill Team in 2020. Games Workshop didn't release anything for about 2 years for Kill Team, and the Kill Team stream, Sheldon, who I've spoken to you in the past, he used to run events for the Las Vegas Open. Um, he took it upon himself to really do a lot of basing sizes, do all this extra stuff for the old edition, and it became more community based, and it actually hit 58 people in 2020. Then the COVID happened, the new edition released, and it dropped to 40 because
Mm,
COVID was happening,
yeah.
whatever, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then we just saw a huge expansion and release because we saw Games Workshop helping continue support, and it seems like Games Workshop wants to continue doing that for Kill Team, which is absolutely a blessing, right? We're definitely in the right competitive scene, because for me, in my opinion, Jake, I think Kill Team is more competitive than 40K, right? Just because of you can put more bodies in a space, you can have shorter rounds, you can run more rounds, and the game overall has a tighter rule set. So it's not as crazy. Now, if we hit like 40 or 50 teams, we'll see.
Different
But
story, right? Yeah.
it could be crazy. But yeah, that's where I'm hoping that I start to see Kill Team, and we'll probably be in a new edition by the 5 year mark, right? Like
Mm.
this year, we just had one in last June or August or whatever. So in probably 3 or 4 years, 2.5 years, we'll see another edition. So we'll have to see if they screw up the game. um,
No,
hopefully
hopefully
they
not,
don't.
man. No,
Yeah,
hopefully
I'm
not.
hoping not.
Hopefully not.
Hoping not.
But in the meantime, it's like, as far as like LVO is considered, like, you guys have such a good dial up on like what the game needs or like what the community wants for the the biggest year-end tournament. So I have like every bit of faith that the only thing that would be stopping from Kill Team growing this year is like literally someone having hesitation. Like I said,
Yeah.
they're like we can do a 300 person. That's it.
Mhm.
Like, that's up to us to figure out the terrain. And that's the
Yeah.
only that would be the only reason I foresee actually like capping tickets. And I made the example even for like 40K champs. So we broke the record last year with I think it was 1159
Wow.
Mhm.
dice roll day 9
Mhm.
or 1059. We had like 1220 tickets sold.
Still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and
Yeah.
LVO sells out. I mean, 40K sells out super fast.
All the
Yeah.
You guys
time,
could probably
yeah.
hit. You guys could probably hit 3K. You know,
Yeah.
or more.
Dude, it
That's
was
crazy.
to the point. It was to the point where like we 100% had to ask GW for their help. Like we were worried. Adam Solis, our head judge,
Uh-huh.
he was shitting his pants. Like, what happens if like all 1,200 show up? Like, I'm already like a little bit short on judges. We only have like 14 judges or something. And I was like, dude, don't worry, man. Like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But no, like as soon as like, and GW like absolutely came clutch in on that side of things. They don't do that for everybody, obviously. So please
Mhm.
don't hit them up for terrain for the record. But working closely with them, where it's like, oh, we just want to safeguard this because if everybody does show up, like we're fucked.
Mhm.
Like fucked,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Because the last thing we want to do is like bring out like old, player place terrain sets. That's
Right.
not cool. If our player packet is out, GW format, whatever format. But yeah, so as far as like this year goes, like literally nothing stopping us from hitting even 2,000 players if we wanted
Mhm.
to, other
That's
than
crazy.
terrain.
Yeah. It's interesting. I hope that we can sell 300 tickets this year, or maybe next year for Kill Team. That would be crazy. You know, we just got to coax everyone to come out of their homes and come to Vegas.
It's entirely up to the community at this point. And like I said,
Yeah.
it's not 2 LVOs in a year. It's just one. The next one is 3 months earlier.
So Jake, coming from your point of view, what would be the advice that you give to somebody for their very first Las Vegas Open?
The very first, just don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. Don't overthink it. It's not like, yes, it's like the world's largest gaming or tabletop gaming tournament, but it's not. It's not what you think it would be for a first timer. It's like, a lot of people want to be ready for it. They want to be practiced for it. They want to, like potentially win it. It's like, well,
Mhm.
it's probability of like you winning it is pretty slim,
There's
right?
one winner and there's
Yeah.
1,000 losers.
What is what is next to guaranteed, and I see this every year, man. Every year from the first time like I participated at an LVO, it's like you get 6 incredible games, like literally from people around the world, and they're just excited to be there in the same like hall full of energy to like whatever game system you might even be playing. Like you just vibe off of the LVO, and that's what it is. It is an experience. It's like, yeah, points cool, like placement cool. That's not discrediting like the importance of that, but the biggest wins are what happens like within your interactions within game and after hours, usually at some kind of bar.
Yeah.
That's why like I'm really struggling with like the funny story, because like there's a whole lot of cool shit that happens, dude. But again, I don't know if I should.
Yeah.
But
That's
that's
fair.
what the LVO has become, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, are you gonna win? Are you like, how many of us are gonna actually win the like the ITC for that matter?
Yeah. I think don't hesitate's a great thing because my wife, when I first started, I'm going to ask G the same thing. When I first went to the Las Vegas Open as an attendee, my wife said, you either need to stop buying Warhammer miniatures or you need to start participating in events, because, and then I was like, okay. I bought us tickets to the Las Vegas Open. It's the biggest tournament in the world. She's like, what the, I don't even play this game. I was like, well, I need a practice partner and you're coming with me, And I think she took 25th and I tied for 8th and fell out of top 8 because of strength of schedule. But it is what it is.
I can
Do
feel the
better,
anger
nerd.
Exactly. Exactly. I left 2 points on the table and that's the reason why I tied out. It is what it is.
Dang.
And it's all completely and utterly my fault. Now, I didn't hesitate. I went and I've never really looked back. It's been a very fun event, just like I love going to Nova. Nova is so much different than LVO because Nova's like, it feels more like a convention. You know, they have a really large vendor space. There's a bunch of stuff going on. It has all this cool lights and stuff like that. And Las Vegas Open isn't that. It's different and it's just as cool in different ways. It is a giant event and everyone is there and they're all there for the love of Warhammer, whatever game system they're there for. And if you like X-Wing 2, you can walk over and be like, oh, fuck yeah, look at that fucking Wookiee guy going crazy, you know? It's you can walk around, it's great.
Yeah.
Giacomo, what is your um, advice to somebody going to LVO for the first time?
Well, kind of like you mentioned, there's only one winner in probably your game sphere. So if you took the advice that I took from a friend, which was, look, play with your Imperial Fist, play with the army that you painted. You've been doing it for a while. And then we're going to be drinking a bunch throughout the tournament. I'll even cover your drinks, is what they said. So I just did that. I had a great time. I was drinking the whole weekend. And then I ran into people that like I'd seen before, and then I saw them again the next year and the next year. So just go. It's fun. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose. Just go. It's fun. You'll start meeting people. You'll see them again. You might see them at other tournaments. Didn't realize they lived in my city. That's always fun too. And it's a cool way to meet your friends again, right? Like, it's once a year. Like, we come out to Vegas, and it's time to hang out with all the friends and do stuff, whether you're playing the game or after hours. That's the advice. Go because you want to have fun. Don't think you absolutely have to be the best tactician in your game. Just play it because I don't always get a chance to play 40K, right? Like, it's just it's a lot of setup sometimes, and I'm busy throughout the week. So this is the time for me to play the game I want to play the whole weekend.
Yeah, my thing would be definitely don't go in thinking you're going to win the whole thing. You want to go in with a healthy mindset. I went into LVO thinking I was going to win everything, right? My very first time. And I was utterly crushed when I didn't make top 8. I was so upset. The fact that I left 2 points on the table, yada, yada. It was a really toxic mindset, but I'm a very competitive human being, right? So like I had to really take it back, and I went back the next day. All the top 8 were out of the thing. And then I got like 3rd place, in the day 2 tournament. So like, I went back and I redeemed myself, or how I felt at least. And I think that like going in knowing that you're probably not going to win, but you just go in and do the best you can and make as many friends as you can. Because if you come back next year, hopefully they come back too, and you can continue that friendship. And I think that's like one of the most important things, to go in with a good mindset to any tournament, not just Las Vegas, but any tournament, because big fish from every small pond is coming to Las Vegas. Big fish from every small pond is going to go to any big event, right? So it's always good to keep that good mindset and not become too sweaty, right? For my final question, then we can talk about whatever, or we can end it. Up to you guys. Where can people stay updated on FLG's future plans and events? Because one thing I find hard is that I'm never on Facebook, right? And I know you guys dropped your guys' LVO announcement on Facebook. I didn't see it on Instagram. I didn't see it on the website. Is Facebook the best place, or are there other places that they can also check other than, I think we have it here, the LasVegasOpen.net or .net?
Yeah, so one of the more recent investments within our time has been to centralize FLG events information as much as possible. So our events hub, which is events.frontlinegaming.org, and that just reminded me that I have not linked it to the LVO website yet. But those are basically like our events calendar in its entirety, sub pages. So like each event page will be like self-serving as its own centralized page, which contains all the information. Facebook, yeah, like we engage there, but it's certainly far from the priority. Like, we don't expect everybody to stay up to date by having to check like a Facebook group or like a Facebook post, if you will. That's just all like extra. So the main points of updates are going to be the events hub. LVO being its own beast, that's why it has its own website, and it always has and always will, is because there's like so much information to share. And you know, like if you go on to like last year's, for instance, and just go to like events, like events within LVO, it's like a, I don't know, like a 20 grid like activity center type of thing. But yeah, stay tuned on LasVegasOpen.net. The events hub primarily, like that will echo everything. We're just trying not to like duplicate information whenever possible. And you know, also our newsletter, like anybody that's like purchased anything on our website, bought an event ticket, so on and so forth, if you're on the newsletter, like we put out critical information there, just to kind of keep everyone in tune. But no, like Facebook is not like the end all be all by any measure. It's just kind of how most of us have been using like events related discussions for the longest time. But yeah, just the events app primarily is what I can best suggest.
What is your guys' main, Jake, as a human being, what is your favorite team, or what is your go-to game?
Like within tabletop gaming.
Yeah, tabletop. I mean, you could say some
game.
video games, and if you say video games or board games, I'm just gonna be like, oh, League of Legends. What, you didn't choose
Monopoly.
it? Oh, you suck.
Yeah. No, I'm 40. I'm a 40Ker.
Okay.
100% I am. Specifically Harlequins.
Oh,
so that was actually so Harlequins was actually my first kill team, by the way. I was extremely ambitious because I too am a competitive person, Dakota. Dude, I was crushing people, like, right? I don't know if you remember like how Harlequins were. Like I was new to this game and I thought they were super busted, like the way you
right now
literally
they are the best team out there.
Yeah,
right,
easily.
Oh, again, really?
Yeah, they've come back
right now.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
now is the time, because they're gonna get nerfed, but now is the time.
Perfect. Dude, I was like very like Harlequins even within 40K. So like I really ambitiously like started playing 40K with that because I was having fun in my Age of Sigmar world. Playing with my Seraphon, and like I was having a blast. And then a buddy of mine like was just like, nah, you have to fucking play 40K because you're gonna be my doubles partner at LVO. I'm like, okay. So I picked, because I had my Harlequins kill team, so I picked up more to try to run that army. And being new to the hobby at that time, so this was like halfway through 8th edition, I don't know what the fuck I was doing. Like I'm trying to pilot this like Ferrari, but I'm only licensed to ride a bicycle. Like that. So I just tabled them. But then like, oh my god, like in 9th edition, dude, like when their rules dropped, like this was exactly how I played. Like Dark Harlequins was exactly this straight murder, fast murder. Touch me, I dare you. It was amazing because I avoided all the Void Weaver shit. Like I don't like playing the game when it's like busted like that. But yeah, Harlequins, man, and I've been Eldar specific since like.
How many points of Eldar do you have? We're gonna Eldar off right now.
Dude, I am easily within the 5 digits.
Oh yeah?
Wow.
5 digits?
Yeah.
How many digits is that? You have like
well over 10,000 points.
Oh,
wow.
I have 14,000 points currently.
Pretty
and
close.
God damn, you're gonna make me do the math, aren't you?
And well, actually, this 14,000 points was from 8th edition or 9th edition. 9th edition. I don't know. I haven't done the new calculations, and I just bought the whole brand new release. So to be honest, I don't know. This is an old statistic, but I have a Titan, and I have like 16 Wraith Lords. Don't ask why.
It's a lot.
Don't ask why.
Yeah, why do you have 16 Wraith Lords?
I have 11 old metal Wraith Lords, and I have 6 because I like the Wraith Lord kit. I think it's fucking cool as fuck.
And we're not talking epic scale, to be clear, right?
No, yeah. I have...
Oh, that'd be Wraith Knights.
I think I have 198 Guardians.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I'd have a lot. Don't ask. Yep. Guardians come in every box, so I keep getting more.
All right, if your collection is like that, then you probably have me beat, because like I have a lot of stuff across like Harlequins, Craft World, not a lot of Drukhari, by the way. They just didn't.
I have 6 Harlequins, 6 metal ones. That's all.
Oh, that's it? Really?
That's it.
Dude, I literally have 60 troops fully painted. just to give you an idea of like what I was trying to accomplish at one point.
Amazing. And Giacomo is like, I only build Imperial fists.
Yep, that's
Oh,
it.
and then Dakota's over here. He has 14,000 points over here. I have like 3,000 points of Space Marine troops because screw Space Marine tanks. You know, I have a problem.
I
Plastic
will say
Crack
Death
has
Guard
me.
was my true love, though. Like, that was my first 40K model of the period, by the way.
Which one?
Death Guard.
Oh, Death Guard. Okay.
Yeah, so when I was
Wow.
getting into it, I saw Mortarion on the shelf. I'm like,
And you were
the
like,
fuck
I
is
gotta
that?
get him.
Yeah, dude, like literally just jumped right into it. I was
It is a
like,
badass model.
I think I have. I'm gonna grab it.
We have all 4 Demon Primarchs now. I wonder what he's pulling out. Oh. For those who
I
are,
think.
there,
Oh,
yep,
I'm
here he
gonna
comes.
grab him. Oh, wait.
Nope, he's not. I'm just kidding.
Here he is. I got him.
You got it.
So, Swooping Hawks is what kind of grabbed me originally when I was young, and it was the Avatar of Cain. The Avatar of Cain was my original favorite model, but my next favorite model, I didn't like the rest of their range, so I never collected them. But it was Drazar, the old metal Drazar from like pre 2017. Absolutely love this model. This is one of the models that actually just got me into the hobby when I was 10 years old in the year of 2000. So yeah, it was, I have a lot of old metal stuff, a lot of stuff, you know, and then I'll buy like one of everything when they come out with a new edition release. So it's like, oh, I have like one of all the 3rd edition stuff, one of all like the 7th and 8th edition stuff, and then one of all the new 10th edition stuff. So yeah, it keeps growing.
It's a cool collection.
It's all unpainted.
oh, for real?
Yeah, I have like 14 Wave Serpent tanks. And like,
I thought I had a lot. I somehow ended up with 9 of those because of like box sets and stuff.
They keep coming with.
They do. That's how I got a lot too. You know, it's not just Wave Serpents. Like, I made them so that they're interchangeable between.
Yeah. No,
Whatever.
I believe you that you probably have like 14ish.
Yeah, and now it's like, oh, and now you can only take 3 in armies now, or whatever the new rules are. And I'm like, oh man.
Well, dedicated
Darn it.
transports,
There
not limited.
Not limited, so I can take. Well, probably not 14.
I don't know why
That's
you would.
probably-
I don't know why you would. But
I don't know the new rules for this edition because by the time I was like, I want to learn them, I was like, well, I have about a year. And then it's going to be 11th edition. So do I really want to learn 40K
wow, is
right
it
now?
already that fast?
yeah.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
if the 3 years happen, we're sitting at like next summer. The
I
next
can't wait
edition
for
will
my
be
next Space Marine release. Every year. That's the only time I really buy is when the new edition comes out. I buy the box set and go, that's good enough.
And he paints
add that to the yellow army. It's fine.
I wonder if it is going to be the 3-year mark because they're still waiting on like a lot of codexes.
That's what I'm wondering too. Like that's kind of early.
I'm really hoping that Games Workshop pushes things out to 4 years because it's really hard for me as an organizer to like I'm just becoming an expert of this edition and I'm like 8 months in. You know, it's relatively difficult, you know, and it's like by the time a year happens, I will be an expert, right? And then I have 2 years of being an expert and that starts all over. I would much rather have like 4 years of like consistency, you know? But, you know, we do play their games, so we're at their mercy.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's going to be exciting. You know, I'm looking forward to it, you know. Kill Team has been coming out with some crazy releases. You know, this new box of Goremongers versus Sanctifiers, Ecclesiarchy versus some crazy ass corn units. We're gonna have to see how that turns out. And who knows what the fuck next is coming out because it was like Ratlings versus Rekkas. It's like, okay.
Did not see that coming.
And it was like Vespids versus Jump Pack Guardsmen. I'm like, all right, what's next? You know, are we gonna get like what are the Zergots? What are those called? The guy, the
Centaur things?
Yeah, the Centaur things from the Tyranids
Zotes?
come through. The Zotes. Are we gonna get like Zotes versus what else is like super random? Tau dogs? I don't know. You know?
Plot twist, Exodites finally come out.
There we go. And stealth suits.
Bro, if the Exodites come out and they have like a bunch of Eldar cats, I'm gonna be so excited. Like, oh, you gonna play like fucking like tigers and shit? I would be so sick.
I feel like
Hell yeah,
that'd be
I would.
like a single box set, not part of the current release, kind of like what they did with Cults and
Giacomo,
Inquisition.
don't fucking
I want it
ruin
to
my
exist, but I
fucking
think it'll be its
fantasies.
own thing, you know?
Shut up, you know? Or if Catachans come out, oh bro, I want my
Sick.
testosterone. I want my fucking muscles. You know, that's like I just want to paint muscles and boobs. That's where I'm at in my hobby career.
I like
You know?
that.
I want to paint skin, I want to paint tattoos, I want to paint big boobs, you know? That's what I want to do, you know? That's why I like Eldar. They got some big old boobies, you know? It's Howling Banshees, bro.
Yeah, dude, they don't discriminate either. It's like
No.
you get a boob, you get a boob.
Seriously, the whole armor set.
Dude, this Slanesh not having any boobs.
Don't worry,
me
the
upset.
community will mold them. They'll make it happen.
I don't think anything like even like Slaneshi actually came out with Slanesh, did it? It was all like marine stuff, wasn't
Just
it?
Ember's Children stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure Games Workshop has been doing this thing every 2 years. They kind of re-release new product lines for specific armies and teams. So we'll see. Maybe in 2 years they'll get another portion of their army or something like that, you know?
Yep.
Yeah,
So
but
you just want to see boobies, man. I get it.
yeah, dude, I'm excited. You know, they're trying to become more PC, and I'm like, nah, give me the juice. You know, give me the juice. Them and Catachan. That's my hope.
I like
You might as
that.
well just write your own rules for Catagen.
Yeah. I'm sure people would download it, right?
Someone would be like, yeah, they've already played
Somebody
custom
would-
stuff online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be like, all right, Veteran Guard are dead. Death Corps suck balls. Here we go. Here's some Catachan. We're gonna fight some stuff. Yeah, but you know, I think that's pretty much rounding it out. Jake, do you have any shout outs that you would like to do at the end of this podcast?
Oof. Literally everybody involved that works directly or indirectly at the FLG team. Like, so it's one of those understatements too, where it's like, hey, we're only a team of 14, but like literally, like, you know, how you guys help us with Kill Team for LVO and other events, and then like copy and paste that across the board. It's like literally without this community, like we could not do this, right? And definitely like just our team in general. And I think that's like a big narrative that, you know, like I particularly have been focusing on, is like to remind everybody that like, hey, FLG, like we're not like one person, we're not one singular person. Like we are just a small and mighty team, but we're just a group of nerds trying to do cool shit. And I want to thank each and every team member that, you know, spends their time with us on a daily basis and deals with each other's shenanigans, as well as TOs as well, that pour their heart and souls into running amazing events at FLG, and just to the awesome community. Like even when there's like disagreements, I genuinely like. This is what keeps me going. Is I genuinely love interacting with everybody, even within disagreements, because for the most part, like we're like a very like objective and, you know, open community by comparison to many other industries. And I think sometimes we forget that. And that, you know, the shout out would have to go to all the above that I just mentioned.
Awesome. How about you, G?
Of course, you can join the conversation, either leaving a comment down if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you are listening to it, you can join our Discord and tell us what you think about that. You know, are you excited for LVO? Are you excited for the future plans of it? You know, are you going to be there in October? We hope to see you there if you are. And if not, you can check us out on the stream. You know, that's on our Twitch channel. That's Squad Games Entertainment. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, we still have more stuff on this channel as well that you can check out. You can find our Instagram. That's squad_games_entertainment. We'll try to keep you up to date with as much stuff as we can, whatever we're doing for events, just things in general about the company itself, and all that other good jazz.
Fair. I want to shout out Hobby Highlander, still editing the episodes that are coming out for that. That is on the YouTube channel. With the events coming up and, you know, some stuff, it's taking a little bit to get these episodes out there. Also want to shout out Frontline Gaming. Thank you for always being gracious and hosting us and being kind and helping us succeed, right? Without Frontline Gaming, Squad Games would not be where it's at today.
True.
So without you guys, it's been it would be relatively difficult to make as big of a mark as we've made on Kill Team so far. And I want to shout out Tabletop Mayhem, our sister YouTube channel. My wife runs that. Make sure that you check her out and leave a comment, a like, and subscribe. And yeah, I think that's about it. Looking forward to our event this weekend, and we'll give a little bit of an event recap in our next episode, hopefully along with Alex Squires and a guest talking about narrative and the Mesozoic system. So we can try to bring that to more TOs around the US. So hopefully we can get that hammered out, and yeah, it should be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Shout out to
thanks,
Alex.
and shout out to Alexander Popov as always. And also shout out to you guys for listening and making it this far. What are we going to have them say in the comments if they actually made it this far?
Hashtag
Boobs.
LVO October. I don't know.
Boobs.
Hashtag LVO October. Okay, I'm down with that. If you made it to the end, go ahead and put that in the comments, and we will know that you are a real one, you know? Yeah, and that's a double goodbye or something like that,
don't
you know? Yeah. All right.
Free ticket to the LVO. No, I shouldn't say
Oh,
that.
whoa, could you imagine?
Out of one of those. You heard it here first. Well, until
Hey,
next.
maybe.
Yeah.
We can do one.
All right. Hey, okay. We can do
Yeah,
one.
We can
We
do one.
We'll randomly select one of those people who what, like in a week, 2 weeks, who put hashtag LVO 2025. All right. What was it? October? LVO October? What was it, G?
LVO Roman numerals XII.
Oh, I like that. I
I
like
like
that.
that.
That's better.
Yeah. So hashtag LVO XII. That's the one. Now you really had to make it to the end, you know?
Yeah.
Watch, people are just gonna start putting like all little like hashtags of like different variations at the end. It's gonna be great. So but yeah, until next time, everyone. Thank you, Jake, for joining us, and thank you for being such an awesome guest.
Yes, we
Likewise.
appreciate
Appreciate you guys.
Until
Take
next
care.
time, everyone.
it. See ya.